Hi everyone, this is Caroline with Logan's Crafty Mama. I'm going to show you how to make a title page for your scrapbook just using a basic piece of pattern paper and a Cricut cartridge. For this one, I cut out Logan's First Snow and I used Don Juan. I think this is a exclusive cartridge to the Cricut Create, but I'm not sure about that. But sometimes if you get lucky, you can purchase this with your bonus, your reward points from Cricut at cricut.com/rewards. So you might want to check that out because this is a very cool font cartridge. Anyway, I cut out Logan's First Snow using that one. I cut that out at 1.5 inches. And I ran it through my Xyron machine. This is my 1.5 inch Xyron, so it barely fit through there. So I thought I had a bigger one than that, but I don't. But it worked. As you can see, what it does is it makes it into a sticker. So anything you put in there, it makes a sticker. So I cut out Logan's First Snow and then I ran it through there. So what I recommend is when you do that is I go over it with my hands to make sure because all the sticky's on the back, and then I take my bone folder and go over it again just to make sure it's down really good and stuck. Okay, now I'm going to try to do this without knocking the camera over. But if you look, I had to tape this down to my mat. I don't know how well you can see that. This is a pattern piece of paper from Die Cuts with a View. This is the holiday collection. I told you in one of my previous videos I do not like this one, and I really don't, but it works. And what I did was I took all my other pictures and I used that same collection in the same colors so all the paper matches. Because I have like 100 pictures or so that go in there. And what I'm going to do is, it's all bordered, but I don't think it would look bad if I take it and put like a picture like that down at the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is take Logan's First Snow and do it like that. So what I'm going to do is take my ATG gun and go ahead and adhere this picture to the paper. This is the ATG 714, and I have got several emails asking me if I use off-brand tape. I do not. I purchase all my tape from Framing Supplies. That's where I get it. That's who I bought my gun from. So I'll stick with them. So I don't know if any other tape works with it. Okay, so what you do is you pull the tacky. This is the hard part when you don't have nails. And go kind of slow, and this does make what they call, I have no nice way of saying this, but they call them boogers if you go really fast. And what it is it's just the glue or the adhesive rolled up, and it's really nasty. So if you pull it off slower, I notice it's not as bad. See, and then when you pull that off, you can see that's a sticker. Now that is an L. It looks like a J, a weird J, but with the Don Juan, all their letters are messed up like that. So that's the cool thing about it. And then what I do is kind of place it up under there, and that way I know to place my L right there. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and adhere all this down, and I'll come back and show you the final. Okay, and that's what it looks like once I glued down Logan's First Snow. I know it's kind of off-centered right here, but that's how I wanted it. I didn't want it perfect looking. So now I'm going to show you the next part that I do sometimes when I do a simple layout like this, just to bling it up a little bit. I actually took some stickles, and these are the icicle and stardust and diamonds and stuff. But I'm not going to use these because of the color of the paper. I'm actually using the waterfall. And if you will look, I'm going to try to zoom in right there. I don't want to touch it because I just did it and it's wet. What it is it's a snowflake. I'm going to zoom back out. It's a snowflake that the company has already put right there. So all I do is take my regular stickle and I kind of go over that. And no snowflake is the same, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Now, you just saw my arm in the way, and the reason was I want to tell you this. This is the stickles I use. I don't recommend using the distress stickles to do a very intricate design like that. The reason is I don't know if you can see this or not, but no, you can't really tell. But the point on that is it's kind of big, so when you squeeze it, it comes out. This one's really tiny, kind of like a pinpoint. When you use the distressed, it does come out really fast. So I'm going to show you how I do this using the regular stickles, and I'm going to try to do this with my head's not all up in the way and my hair and everything else. So I always squeeze it just to kind of get it to going. Sometimes if I'm going to do letters, I go ahead and do it on a piece of paper so I don't get that blob that comes out. And you're just going to, I just do the design, like follow the line, and I go all the way around however the design is. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because there's no snowflake that's perfect. And just follow the lines out. And that just, it gives your eye, it catches your eye to where it does look like an embellishment, like you've attached it, you know, something that you may have around your house without actually having to attach something. And it makes the page really pop, I think. So, almost finished. You do need to let this sit for a couple of hours since it is like 10 or 11 o'clock my time at night. I'm going to actually let it sit all night long before I decide to put it in the my album. But that's those two. And I'm not too sure if I'm going to go ahead and do these two down at the bottom. I probably will. But one more thing I'm going to show you before I go is I'm going to take probably the icicle, just the basic stickles. Still icicle. It's nothing fancy. And I'm just going to go over without touching and getting my hair all up in this camera. And kind of just go over, like, you know how when a light hits it? Just like that. And then I'll do it on the bottom right there. And that kind of just, I mean, you don't have to do that. You may look at that and be like, oh, she should have stopped. But I kind of think it looks neat. If you want to go ahead and outline it, you're more than welcome to. This is your paper, it's your project, and none of them, you can see that better, none of them are, nobody sees the same picture the same way. So that kind of looks like a little dab of icicles on there. And in case you're wondering, when the stickles dry, they do dry to a glitter. They're not real puffy and all that. So that may look puffy now, but in the morning it will have flattened out some and just be glitter, so it looks a lot better. But that is it. I just wanted to show you how I do a basic layout when I don't really feel like getting all detailed and stuff with it. But that is it. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.